Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Coaches on Shameless Explorations. Today, we're here with Linda Robinson from Accelerated Evolution. She's a master trainer and a master coach of Accelerated Evolution. And she's going to share with us today a little bit about who she is, how she came to this work, and what benefit it has to learn this and receive this kind of work, and what accelerated evolution even is. Linda is one of my coaches. Let me change the view here. Linda's one of my coaches that I've asked, I hired specifically to help me with certification and to move through some of the things where I was getting stuck in my business. So Linda, so happy to have you with me today. Will you please share a little bit, introduce yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, hi Holly. So good to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
And yeah, and what was that first question?
Yeah, will you introduce yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, yeah. So like you said, I'm an accelerated evolution coach and a trainer with Accelerated Evolution Academy. Most of my business is really in working with other coaches. I also work with businesses with their leadership and management. And I also work with relationships with couples that want to up level and, get through whatever stucknesses and stack ups, hurt feelings, communication problems, that sort of thing. So that's what most of my business is. But my heart really is with working with coaches, really helping them get their business monetized and
Mm-hmm.
to the next level.
Great, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and then
So,
of course with Accelerated Evolution Academy, we train other coaches, as myself, a series of three of us trainers that work with the founder, Satya Raja, and we're the master trainers that teach the academy. And our last one, we did our first one, our first online event, and had 90 people. And so that was just really fabulous being able to train 90 up and coming coaches and teach them these particular processes to help them have that in their bag of tricks.
yeah, thank you. That was an amazing training. So I met Linda at first at a training in Canada where I went to learn the accelerated evolution the first time. And then I wasn't ready to focus and get the certification. But then on the second training, I was like so committed. So I decided to hire her to help me through the certification process. And the training is so unique and really structured in a way that you just learn the processes, and in the process of learning that, to teach it and do it for clients, we really get to unwind a lot with ourselves too. So
Yeah, and the good thing about it too that you just mentioned, Holly, is that once somebody joins Accelerated Evolution Academy, you can come to live events for the rest of for your rest of your life for no additional fees, and so you just can come keep repeating it and getting better
yeah,
and learn it
that's
at whatever
something I
level
love.
you are at the moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something that I loved about that, because I went to the one in September and learned that, and I'm like, oh, right. Satyan has this amazing community that goes to his home for training. I don't know how it will shift and change now, but we went to his home. He's got a beautiful home, beautiful, welcoming atmosphere. And just so great to connect with everybody in that community. That was one of the gifts of it for me that has me wanting to stick around and keep playing at the workshops. So, um, so how did you come to this work? Can you tell us a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah. So I'm going to start with actually in a time in my life that really was instrumental in me moving towards this. Was I was probably 19 years old, and I was working at a company. I was going to college at night, and I was working at a company in Manhattan, in New York, and everybody hated the job.
Mm.
You know, everybody that was working there just was so unhappy and hated the job. And then, of course, there was an hour on the train each way, you know, to get to work. And, you know, and I remember this new mother that was so upset because she had to leave her new baby to be able to make ends meet, you know, and you know, both of them had to work. And she was like so upset and showing baby pictures all the time and just kind of crying that she couldn't be home with her child. And then I had a supervisor that all he talked about was his 2 weeks vacation each year because that was the only thing in his life that inspired him. And I remember saying to myself at 19 years old, this cannot be. I mean, life is not meant to be this way. You know, there was something in me that just knew that life was meant to be lived in joy and in fulfillment and without compromising one area for another and not having to work at the expense of your family life and seeing your kids grow up. And, you know, that there was something in me that just knew that you could have it all.
Mm.
And I just didn't know exactly how to go about it. But at that time in my life, I started an in-depth exploration of spirituality, consciousness, self-growth, you know, and just moving my life forward to be able to feel like whatever blocks there were to living the life of my dreams, that I was going to plow through them and tackle them and get to the other side. And so I did I did a ton of stuff in my life, Holly. You know, just about everything that everybody has heard of, and
Yeah.
probably some that you never have.
That's that's great because I can totally relate. You know, once you wake up to that idea, that's the whole basis of my work too. Is like we can have it all. We can really and truly live like the most pleasurable life that beyond our imagination, and like when I woke up to that idea, I was like, okay, now how?
Exactly, exactly. And so of course I started noticing all of the limiting beliefs, all of the self-sabotage, all of the negative self-talk, all of the stuff that was in the way, and realizing that I wasn't alone in this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this is universal. And so, you know, get to about 15 years ago where I met Sachin Raja.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't even looking for a teacher at that time because I'd done a ton of stuff and I was really implementing in my life and all of that. And I met Sachin and I just knew I had to do some work with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, I took everything he had and started staffing with him, you know, almost immediately after my first course. I started volunteering and staffing and learning from that side too, and then took, you know, the trainer course and the master's course and, you know, all of that stuff, and just really was so taken with the work because I've always been very results oriented. And if you could show me a way, you know, I'm not married to anything. And it's like, if you could show me a way that's going to make an impact faster and with more ease and have my clients get the results that they want quicker and easier, I'm all for it.
Yes.
And so that's what's happened with Sachin, is that he's the same way. He's not married to anything. And so when he learned, you know, newer, better techniques and processes, he brought those back to us. And that was the beginning of accelerated evolution, was a conglomeration of processes and techniques that are direct experience processes for people where they come out the other side with their own solutions and their own new perspectives and their new up-leveled points of view, and seeing whatever the problem was from a whole new perspective and from, you know, a more expanded perspective instead of that narrow idea of that limiting belief.
Yeah, and the gift of the what I've know like the gift of it is that they're coming to that awareness on their own, just being taken through a process. It's not like somebody's telling you what to believe, what to know now about yourself. Like, this is what you should know. Um, it's not like, because we start out sometimes and it's like with a psychic person, it's like, I don't know how to get here, so you tell me everything.
Yeah.
um, and we ask for outside to tell us. But when we get to these processes, it's like when we can discover for ourselves that awareness, what it means to us personally and how it sits in our world, then things start to shift and change so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the things that I really love about it. And I mean, the other things is, like I said, it's just fast, it's
Mhm.
effective, it's efficient. It really, the processes really take people from a point of charge to a point of such expanded awareness,
Mhm.
such a place of seeing it from such a higher point of view that it's almost laughable when you look back at the problem and you just feel that expanded point of view and who you really are at your core and
Mhm.
how empowered you really are.
Can you explain charge? Like, so what does it mean to be charged about something?
Yeah, so charge is just, it's feeling the stuckness. It could be emotional charge, an emotional stuckness. It could be a traumatic experience, something that's really stuck in your body mind complex, something you couldn't process. It could be just a pattern
Mm-hmm.
that you have, a point of view that you grew up with, money doesn't grow on trees, whatever things that we have back there
Mm-hmm.
that that are still impacting us.
Yeah, some that I've
Relationships are hard, whatever those things are, and those are charged stuck points. And they have us see things from that point of view.
Mhm.
And we can be walking down the street and step on a $20 bill and not even see it if we think money doesn't grow on trees, or that, or
Right, or
we have to work hard.
refuse to receive money because, like, and the underlying thing is money is dirty, and then it just doesn't come, right? And, like, money's dirty. I have think like that's a limiting thought that you could have that could stop money from coming into your life, stop you from receiving.
Exactly. Or I can't be spiritual
Mhm.
and rich.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that we have. And so those are all charged situations. They impact us in a way that stops us from living our free choices. They
Mhm.
have us going down a particular path that isn't free and doesn't involve a peaceful mind. And so what the processes do is they just alleviate that charge. They integrate it in a way that it's no longer plaguing the person. And all of a sudden, as they see things from that higher space,
Mhm.
like sometimes, ever notice, like if you just even go away to the river or camping or get out of your normal everyday situation, that you can look at a situation and sometimes a solution will come to you that didn't really come to you when you were in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that you're getting out of the constriction
Mhm.
and going to a place of expansion and limitless opportunity and looking at it from there. And it's almost funny
Mhm.
that the problem was plaguing you so much, something that was like really plaguing you. And it's almost laughable that, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
oh my God, I really see clearly now.
Right? So I have had that experience for sure. And there's
Yeah,
sometimes that I have the experience where people see it in that way and then feel ashamed for having made the problem so big for so long. So
yeah,
what do you do with that? Process the shame?
yeah, yeah, we do. And people people start, as they start doing the action steps to help ground it and help implement it more in their life, a lot of that has to do with self-care and being good to yourself, and treating yourself well. And yes, if it really is an issue that there's shame, then we process the shame.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, a lot of the times that just starts dissolving because we learn to just treat ourselves well and to give ourselves a break.
Mm.
And we start really feeling our humanity and, how, and we really also look at all problems as something that has a lesson for you.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's a part of you, something that has a lesson for you, something that's actually positive in your life. And as you gain the wisdom, you no longer need to carry that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets integrated into your being, the wisdom from that problem, from that lesson, and it gets integrated into your being, and you can just bless it in a way, and just feel like, wow, that really was some sort of divine perfection that happened because, here I am now.
Yeah, there's so many times that I've experienced like super intense things. I go through a process and I'm like, wow, what a gift that was. Like,
Yeah.
even the traumatic experiences, I'm like, wow, they really taught me something or contributed something else to my life later. There's so much to be gained from all the experiences, and we can take the charge off and see it from what it is.
Yeah, and especially, when we can see the contribution that we're meant to make
Mm-hmm.
because of having some of those significant experiences.
Yeah.
That all of those kinks can be our greatest gifts.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask you, I can hear how it's like such a great support for clients to receive these processes and see how it's changed your life. What are the greatest things that you've changed in your life? Some of the things that have really
Oh
changed.
gosh, my entire life has changed, I mean, firstly, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. It
Mm-hmm.
really feels like I'm giving my gifts and making the dharmic contribution that I'm meant to make.
Mm-hmm.
And financially, I have financial freedom. I do whatever I want. I travel the world. Well, not right now, but hopefully soon. And I love scuba diving, and that's one of my passions. And in relationships, it's just, my husband and I were married for 40 years and went through the gamut of everything. And by the time he died, a couple of years back, we were more in love than ever. And there was no regrets. And, he was able to die free.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to, be there for him and release him in that way. And, now I have this really fabulous younger boyfriend. And, the sex is great. Life is really good. And my relationship with people, it's like they're all clean. There's no stack ups. There's nothing, no buildup of charge. It's like, life is just, I've really accomplished the goal, Holly, that I set out all those years ago of being able to find a way to live life with total freedom and joy and without compromise and without just keeping all the balls up and just having an ease and a flow.
Yeah.
And just feeling really passionate. I get kind of, teared up about the whole thing because it's just a life beyond my wildest dreams.
Yay.
And I'm in my late 60s now. And
And looking amazing.
thank you.
So physical also, right?
And feeling amazing, and I have a passion for kickboxing.
Hmm.
And, and my body's in great physical shape, really healthy. And all of this stuff, I really contribute all of it to the lifestyle. I don't really consider it accelerated evolution processes. It's really a lifestyle,
Hmm.
of just processing charge as it comes up and being able to live this free life where you can just see the solutions and the action steps and what's next for you and just live in this ease and flow.
Yeah. So I want to highlight what she just said is like process it as it comes up. Because typically what we do is something comes up. We don't want to deal with emotion. We don't know how. We freeze it. We stuff it down and ignore it. And it's still like, and then it becomes this limitation or this wall that we create. So process it as it comes up. And then your life is just continuously like open.
I mean, in relationships, how many people that start out totally loving each other and feeling like they're soulmates and, that just would do anything for each other and end up hating each other or end up having such hurt feelings that they have a wall,
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
even letting the person in anymore. And then all of a sudden I fell out of love or this, I'm getting divorced. And there's so many stack ups and one thing on top of the other on top of the other. And it's like, it doesn't really have to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah. We can just be with what is in the moment and still see the person, right? And have more experiences and move through it from our perspective instead of putting it on someone else, even.
Yeah. Yeah. And learn how to communicate our needs and, with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. The communication tools in this are amazing. So actually, I think that the best way for people to get an understanding or an idea um, of how this is by like witnessing or receiving a process. So we do you have do we have time today for us to
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, great. Great.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would invite everybody who's participating in this to really participate and to do this in the sanctity of your space and to, if you possibly can, to go into some space that's going to be undisturbed, that you can participate in this and have your own experience. And I will do it with you, Holly, if that's okay with you, and have you share, go through it. And
Sure.
at the same time, everybody else who's listening in can have
Great.
their own experience. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. So everybody just think of some limiting belief that you have. Maybe with your career, maybe with your relationship, maybe with money. Think of some limiting belief. Okay, you got it, Holly?
Yeah, I got one. You want to hear
Okay, great. And so what's yours?
it's I'm not good at sales.
Okay, great. All right. And so what I want you to do is to come up with somebody who's really good at it.
Mm,
And so all of you guys listening in, come up with a role model, an icon, just somebody. You don't have to like everything about them, but that you really appreciate that quality that you would like to integrate. And for Holly, it's like somebody who's really good at sales, who does it in a way that you admire.
hmm hmm I've got it.
Okay, great. Who would that be?
Tina.
Say it again.
Tina?
Tina?
Yeah, she has created multiple businesses and just good at business, I think.
Okay, beautiful. So everybody just come up with your icon, your role model. And the way the process goes is we're going to actually integrate that character trait that we admire into our own being. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to feel yourself And I'll explain the process first and then we'll do it. And I'm going to have you feel yourself in this here and now moment. You just feel yourself. You know, it's not difficult. Feel yourself in this moment. And then just verbally out loud say something about it. And so the people at home, you know, do that too. You can say it very low, under your breath, whatever. But it's important that it gets verbalized. So you're going to feel yourself in this moment and say something about it. Then you're going to feel your icon, Tina, you know, the person you admire, and you're going to see her at the height and glory of her exemplifying that particular trait that you want, that sales, that business, and how she does it with ease.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see her at the height of that. And then I'm going to have you say something about it. And so you just verbally say, you know, a word, a phrase, whatever, you say something about it. And we're going to go back and forth like that for a bit. And then just follow me with the directions. And we're going to integrate that quality into you.
Great.
Okay, beautiful. Everybody ready to begin?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths. And just commit to do the process to the best of your ability and to follow it through to the end. And to not resist anything and just allow whatever comes up to come up. Okay, feel yourself in this here and now moment. Enter this moment, feel it. And just say something about it out loud.
Centered.
Thank you. Okay, feel your role model. In your case, Holly, it's Tina. Feel your role model, your icon. See them, feel them at the height of their showing that ability. And say something about it.
Driven.
Beautiful. Okay, deep breath in and out. Okay, feel yourself again. Feel yourself right now in this moment. And say something about it.
Grounded.
Thank you. Okay, feel your icon at the height of that character trait that you admire. Enter it fully, don't hold back, even dramatize it. Feel it big in you and say something about it.
Exuberant.
Very good. Okay, feel you again. Feel you in this moment and say something about it.
Stiff.
Thank you. Okay, feel your icon. Feel Tina. Feel her fully at the height of her trait and say something about it.
Ease and flow.
Thank you. And now I want you to feel them both at the same time. Feel yourself in this moment and feel Tina. Feel your role model at the height of their portrayal of that trait that you admire. Feel them both in the same space at the same time as you take a deep breath in and a slow exhale. And share with me what's happening between the two.
It's like standing side by side, coming close together.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so those of you doing this, you know, see if you feel them merging in any way or having a magnetic attraction coming together. Don't force it, but just allow them to magnetically come together. Okay, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do another round and we're going to do it faster this time. Feel yourself in this moment and say something about it.
Mm. There's no edges.
Thank you. Feel Tina, feel your role model, feel them fully. Don't hold back and say something about it.
Infinite energy.
Thank you. Hey, feel yourself. Feel yourself in this moment and tell me something about it.
Blurry.
Very good. Okay, feel your icon, your role model. See them portraying it and say something about it out loud.
Within.
Very good. Okay, feel you. Feel you again in this moment and say something about it.
There's a fullness in my belly.
Thank you. Okay, feel Tina. Feel your icon. Feel them fully and completely and say something about it.
Radiant.
Very good. Now feel them both again at the same time. You in this here and now moment and your icon, your role model. Feel them at the same time, simultaneously, as you take a deep breath in and a slow exhale. And tell me what's happening between the two.
They're one. It's merged.
Very good. For those of you watching this, participating, if they've merged, great. Otherwise, we're going to do one more quick round. Okay, so whatever you can do to separate them again, even a little bit, whatever's left of each side, feel you in this moment and say something about it.
Present.
Thank you. Feel your role model, the height of their ability, and say something about it.
Supportive.
Thank you. Feel you again and say something about it.
Supportive.
Feel your icon, your role model. See them at the height of their ability, their trait, and say something about it.
Having it all.
Thank you. And now feel them both at the same time. You in this moment and your icon at the height of their trait portrayal. Feel them both simultaneously as you take a deep breath in and a slow exhale, and share what's happening between the two.
They're one.
Very good. Now just expand that integration, that merging, that feeling of oneness. Everybody expanded infinitely in front of you, behind you, to both sides, up and down. Just limitless, infinite expansion of the oneness that you are, of the merging that you feel. And whenever you're ready, just come back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And tell me, what are you more conscious of now than you were before? And everybody answer that question for yourself. What are you more conscious of now than you were before?
Just the true fact that there is no separation and we can be and do and have it all, whatever the thing is that we want.
Beautiful. And
Before
what's and
that,
what and what's the difference between you and Tina?
there isn't one.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And from this awareness and from this integration, what can you do now that you couldn't do before? Or what can you do more of?
I imagine I can do more of creating business and ease and flow and just playing in it.
Beautiful. And what's one action that you'll take in order to move this forward and even ground it deeper?
An action that I'll take is to jump into her team calls and start
Oh,
participating with the team.
beautiful. And then the other thing I always ask people to do is to create their new narrative. It's like the old problem was, I'm not good at sales. What's your new narrative?
New narrative is I'm good at anything I put my time and energy into.
Yay! Yay for you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. It's so fun. It's always so fun to receive the process, and there's such a lightness afterwards. So I appreciate that, and you sharing it here, and for whoever gets to receive it. How lucky are you?
Yeah.
Um, so thank you. There it was one more thing that I wanted you to speak to. And that's like obviously I can see the gift in it as a coach, but to coaches who are watching, how does accelerated evolution, coaches that haven't learned it,
Hmm.
I have something to say to the coaches that have learned it in a minute, but coaches that haven't learned it yet and want to like accelerate their business, how would you say this contributes?
I'm sorry, I missed the last word.
How would you say that accelerated evolution, learning the processes, just bringing that into
Contributes
your
to the
life and
business.
business can be a contribution?
Yeah. Well, I haven't found processes that are this quick and effective. And
Mm,
I think they're a great adjunct to anybody's business because people are always bringing problems, stuck conditions, emotional charge, traumas, patterns, all that stuff to the table. And rather than having a talk therapy,
mhm,
or something like that, these processes really get to the core and have people dissolve and integrate whatever it is. And we're finding that therapists, other coaches, other professionals, get to use it, acupuncturists, all get to use it in their business as an adjunct to
mhm.
what they're already doing so that they have an additional bag of tricks, an additional thing to turn to that really impact and help their client even quicker and more effectively. And so I would definitely invite people to contact me to find out more about it. No obligation, but we have an Accelerated Evolution Academy, and I'd be happy to share with people and find out more about their own particular needs and share with them individually as to how it can impact their business and what they might gain out of it and what the details are.
Great.
And so
Yeah,
I'd be happy to do that.
great. Thank you. Yeah, what I wanted to speak to as a coach who has learned accelerated evolution, the certification process is tedious. In my point of view, it's in depth, and you're not just getting a certification because you sat in the course. You actually have to work for it.
Mhm.
Um, and one of my limitations that I had was I do not like to memorize, and I don't think I'm good at it, right? So it had me sitting stuck for about 6 months between trainings because I couldn't wrap my head around how to complete the certification. And so what I decided to do was hire a mentor within that to support me. So coaches who have taken the course and are struggling with certification or just want more out of it, then I want to suggest that hiring Linda as a coach is amazing, because like I'm actually gonna I'm gonna finish my certification tomorrow.
Woo! So proud of you.
I'll just celebrate here. Um, and that is something that I sat still with since last September, and now it's July. So um, I would say that, Linda, I'm grateful that we came up with that solution and idea for me to move as an action step to move past my limitation. Just hire a mentor. And to everybody listening, like, that is something you can do when you are absolutely stuck and you don't know how to move past a thing and you really want to move past it. That's what, like, a great gift of coaches, mentors, facilitators, and whatever we're called, whatever that person, a healer, um, that's the support that's available to you that you can find, and then you can move past and have everything that you're asking for. Sometimes you just need that support. So, Linda, thanks for being one of my support systems.
Thank you. Yeah, and one thing that Sachin has always said is be the client that you want to create. And so for myself, I mean, I've invested a ton of money in my education and learning and mentor, and having Sachin and other mentors and stuff. And I firmly believe if we're going to be a coach, that we need to have a coach. It's just being the client that you want to create, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, in the last 10 years, even though my life keeps changing, keeps getting greater, the situations keep changing, I always have a coach to go along with whatever I'm going through, just because I've realized that that's such a great contribution to my life. Even though, like, that's how I became a coach, because I'm like, wow, coaches are great. It's so nice to have the support there. Like, sometimes we don't have it within our family, within our friends, and there's resources available to reach out and have somebody. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I just wanted to really mention that. And Linda, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to find you. So how can we contact you
Um,
or learn more or experience more?
yeah, so awakening to truth, everything spelled out, awakeningtotruth.com
Mm,
is my website.
great.
Linda at awakeningtotruth.com is my, Linda at awakeningtotruth is my email.
Mm,
Okay, Linda at awakeningtotruth.
great. Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to invite you to put that information in. I'll put it in the description. I'll just invite you to add that information in on the Facebook page so that everybody can
Great.
easily discover you.
Happy to do that. I'll put my phone number too. People can certainly pick up the phone and call too.
Oh, wonderful.
And as
Okay.
a matter of fact, I will offer, anybody who's listening to this call, a complimentary discovery session, and they can get a feel for the process and how it would impact them in their life, and
Mm.
also get a feel of us working together. And, no obligation, and it's really low key, but I'm going to offer that to all of your subscribers.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. That's such a gift. Just a discovery session, seeing what's there in that moment. That's such a gift. So thank you for offering that.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun, Holly.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I so appreciate you being here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we say goodbye to everybody?
No, I just, I love you. I love your whole community. And, it's my tribe. It's,
Mhm.
people who also are just getting out of the box and know that freedom and joy and and exploration and all of that stuff is just a given.
Mhm.
And
Thank you.
so, yeah, I look forward to connecting more.
Yeah, me too.
And
Thank
I
you.
hope, I hope everybody got something out of this. And my pleasure to connect further.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for being here. Everybody, Linda's contact info is here and it will be in links. You'll find it easily, I hope. And thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to contact me, then if you're on Facebook, you can message me. And my email is holly@shamelessexplorations.com. See you next time.